Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome back to Daytona Sandown Park. One race has already been completed here in the Elite Karting Series round 6, and we're ready to do it all again. The grid set by the fastest lap from that race 1. We've got both lightweights and heavyweights on the grid once again, and we can head down to the grid to see how they line up. Olly Smith starts on the pole here for race 2 ahead of Ben Richardson, but only by 0.05 of a second. JJ Hind, despite winning in fine style in race 1, is only in 3rd. Archie Bullard joining him on row 2. Louis Draper and Philip Bevelau make up row 3 with championship leader Andrew McWilliam only in 7th here ahead of the second race at Sandown Park. Rory O'Regan joining him on row 4. Then it's Carlos Armanis and Callum Bengelo on row 5. James Browning starts in 11th and rounds out the lightweight grid with Matthew Boulton starting on the pole inside of our heavyweight class. Tom Angier is alongside him with Vito Dakers and Chris Bowers on row 2. Yachi Low rounds out the grid in 5th. Here we go then. We are ready to get underway on board with Olly Smith, who surprisingly set the fastest lap in that race, despite the fact JJ Hind was ever so dominant, but he's going to have a right old chance here of taking home this victory. JJ Hind only able to start on row 2, of course. Carlos Armanis, he's a little bit further back in the lightweight grid. Here we go then, ready for the green flag, and the green flag flies, and it's a good start actually from the car to the outside. He's able to get himself up into the lead of the race. Olly Smith loses out on a couple of positions off of the first lap, and now Carlos Armanis trying to cut his way through the field as we go up into turn 3. There is a spin for Callum Bengelo, only a half spin. I think he's able to keep back going as they fly past static camera here, and up into Vale we see Philip Bevelau trying to attack Olly Smith. Almost a flat corner here. Vale, and Philip Bevelau is able to squeeze his way up the inside line. Rory O'Regan goes through. He started 8th and is up a couple of spots, but it's Ben Richardson who leads.
Good move there by Rory O'Regan going down into the hairpin. Olly Smith as well, he's got his way back up. He's alongside JJ Hind now, going down into the penultimate corner. I believe there's Ollie in around about 5th place as JJ's looking all over the back of Olly Smith, but I think Ollie has managed to keep the position. So as they come across the line at the end of the first lap, it is Ben Richardson who leads ahead of, I think that is Rory. It's all the way up in 2nd. He started in 8th. What's he doing up in 2nd? Brilliant start by Rory as Carlos Armanis now looking up the inside of Philip Bevelau. Meanwhile, JJ Hind's got up the inside of Olly Smith, so 2 overtakes going along at once. And now Carlos Armanis as they go down to the back straight. Can Carlos get past Philip Bevelau as they head through Vale? They're still side by side, and I believe Carlos has just about managed to get 7th place off of Philip, but no, there's been a crash. That's Louis Draper. Louis Draper's just gone into the side of Carlos Armanis. You could see it up in the top right hand corner in Philip Bevelau's onboard. I think Louis just went in a little bit hot when trying to overtake Philip and clipped Carlos on the way through. He has let Carlos back through though, which is great stuff from Louis.
And if you were listening closely, the eagle-eyed amongst you may have heard Carlos as well, and his reaction to that in his very distinctive voice. Here's Olly Smith then, as is that a move for JJ Hind down the inside, trying to get 2nd position away from Archie Bullard. Has done exactly that. Sorry, tries to get 3rd position away from Archie Bullard. Olly Smith follows him through as we go up into Vale. So Archie Bullard loses a couple of positions. He moves down into 5th, and now there's a battle for the lead. It is Rory versus Ben. Rory on the outside line as we go through the hairpin of turn 6. Not quite able to get through, but stays alongside here, looking for the switchback. Ben Richardson just about holds on though as they go back through now 7 and turn 8. A little bit of a mistake for Rory O'Regan. Actually, he's going to take himself out of that ever so slightly. You see the chasing pack is reasonably spread out itself as Olly Smith tries to chase after JJ Hind, who's trying to put himself in a good spot here to take the overall pole position heading into that feature race. Now back to see the gap between our 2 race leaders. Rory O'Regan has had to put a hold on his attacks for a little bit.
Archie Bullard now, he's just gone down to 5th as JJ and Ollie have managed to make their way through. He's now got Andrew William all over the back of him as we're now on board with Philip Bevelau, who is in 7th position. That's Callum Bengelo, I think, up the inside. Yes, it is. So Callum Bengelo up the inside of Philip Bevelau. as Callum's now managed to make his way up into 7th position. Philip used to be a regular here at Sandown Park and is nowadays a regular at Milton Keynes. As we look back at the leaders here, got Rory Regan right behind Ben Richardson. Ben also a regular here at Sandown Park, whilst Rory is a regular at Butmore Park and also a regular at Brentwood. So Rory not used to this track, but he is a phenomenally quick driver. Rory is currently the championship leader in the Club 100 Junior Lightweights, so he knows how to drive these cars, just isn't too familiar with this track.
No, but it's serving him quite well. There's now another attack here from Rory O'Regan, who makes contact with Ben Richardson. Only a little bit of contact is back on the outside line as we go through into turn 6. We'll look for that switchback, and I think he's not quite going to get it. The straight line speed, or the exit speed I should say, not quite coming into the favour of Rory O'Regan, who gets a much better line through turn 7. Can now start to apply pressure as we exit turn 8 and into turn 1. Uses a lot of the track on that right hand side as Richardson goes ever so slightly defensive ahead of Rory O'Regan. Rory not able to make this move just yet, but he's certainly pressing for it, and this will put him in good standing as we head into that final race. Now it started all the way down in 8th position, and that spot now is occupied by Philip Babalal. So Rory has had some fantastic progress throughout the course of this race. Speaking of Philip Babalal, here's Carlos Albanis heading through Vale trying to attack, and Philip hasn't had the greatest mid-corner. That allows Albanis to come alongside and into turn 5 that they go, and through into the spot I think goes Carlos Albanis. As back to the outside he goes for 6, has to get the switch back here out of this corner. The cutback is perfect, and it looks like Carlos Albanis is going to find his way through. We'll wait and see as he's on the brakes, and is on the brakes ever so slightly better than Philip Babalal, and up into that spot. Back to the battle for the lead, because Rory O'Regan is starting to apply even more pressure to race leader Ben Richardson.
JJ High, meanwhile, he's not far behind this pack, this battle for the lead. He's not far behind, only 1.5 seconds behind Rory at the moment. So JJ, he is closing in. He got past, obviously, Ollie and Archie early on in the race. He's now managed to pull away from them both, and he's now closing in. Obviously had that dominant drive in the first race, so that phenomenal 5.5 second gap to everybody else, and he is now managing to close in on these front two as Rory Regan is all over the back of Ben Richardson, still trying to find a way past, but he's not quite able to make it stick. Gap across the line is 0.172 seconds, with Rory having the fastest lap of the race as well with a 46.4, so he's putting in a great drive here but not quite able to get past Ben at the moment.
He is very close, and Rory O'Regan is proving how difficult it is to overtake here at Sandown Park on this layout of the circuit. Obviously we raised the Grand Prix layout a few months ago, and that seemed pretty easy to overtake. This time not the same story, as O'Regan's along the outside as we go through into turn 6. Now gets the switchback, and this time it's a little bit better than it was before. He's still alongside, but again Ben Richardson's just able to get ahead of him and cut him off, and cut off the attack as well. Still O'Regan comes along the outside though and is trying to get himself through, but again Ben Richardson is able to hold on. That's a dive bump, and that's a move for Rory O'Regan. JJ Hyde trying to invite himself to the party, but Rory O'Regan gets the lead of the race ahead of Ben Richardson, and now JJ Hind is trying to attack.
Great move there by Rory, really good send that came out of nowhere, to be honest. I don't think anyone was expecting that. Rory just saw the little gap going into turn 1, sent it up the inside, and it looks like he has now taken the lead of the race off of Ben Richardson. JJ now only 6.5 tenths behind going across the line. He's even closer to Ben now as they head through turn number 6. So JJ's all over the back here, could very well go for the move. JJ used to be a regular here at Sandown Park in his youth, so JJ does know this circuit, with Rory putting in a phenomenal drive here. Coming across the line, Rory's just set a new fastest lap of the race with a 46.37. For comparison, Ben and JJ's fastest lap times are 46.6. So Rory is putting in phenomenal lap times here as Carlos Albanis now looking up the inside of Callum Bendelo, going for the move for 7th, and Carlos has managed to make his way past. So Carlos on a little bit of a recovery drive here after that tangle with Louis Draper early on, and in fact Carlos, he's flying through the field here. He's just set a fastest lap, his own fastest lap of the race, which is a 46.7, so he's almost as quick as the two drivers in 2nd and 3rd here. So Carlos is putting in a really good recovery drive.
He is, and knows this place like the back of his hand, up into 7th position pretty decent finish for him so far. JJ Hind now with 2 laps to go in this race, 2 minutes to go in this race. That should translate to about 2 laps, I would believe, with JJ Hind trying to attack Ben Richardson now. Here's Carlos Armanis then as Archie Bullard in his sights. Archie makes a little bit of a mistake, and that allows the ever-punishing Carlos Armanis to get up the inside and get through into 6th position. Now chases after Andrew McWilliam, who might be a little bit too far ahead for any real attack to happen. Also keeping an eye as we go on this sort of battle between Andrew and JJ inside of the championship standings. That could come to a head later, as it stands they'll be pretty close to each other on the grid as we go into that race. But here now goes JJ Hind down the inside into turn 7 and gets himself up a spot and into 2nd position. So his progress in the championship right now, he's going to be threatening Andrew McWilliam and threatening to take that top spot away as we head into the final 2 rounds of the season. But still a little bit of a ways to go in this race. I believe now there'll be 2 laps left, with this not being the final lap, but the next lap being the final lap.
That was a really good move there by JJ. Got it set up going into turn 6. He made Ben go defensive, and then JJ got the cutback coming out of turn 6, got the run down to turn 7, and he's now managed to make his way up into 2nd position. So really good overtake there by JJ on a bit of recovery drive himself, having started, I think it was down in 5th or 3rd place, and got a bit of a bad start. So he's doing a good job here to fight his way back through the field, get past Ben, and can he now catch Rory O'Regan, who he's a good friend of, and he was just 1.5 seconds up ahead.
Olly Smith on the final lap of the race then has got a little bit of work cut out as he's trying to keep Andrew McWilliam behind. I believe there's quite a gap between the 2 of them though, so he can sort of cruise into the finish here with just the 10 seconds to go. You can watch your pole sitter maybe not having the most fantastic of races, but trying to solidify himself in that top 3 of the championship. Olly Smith remaining consistent as ever, even if he isn't always up at the top step of the podium. But we have got the 0 minute mark on the clock. It will be the checker flag, and for the first time in at least a while, it'll be Rory O'Regan who wins in EKS ahead of JJ Hind. A good recovery for him up into 2nd position. Ben Richardson with a fantastic 3rd. Olly Smith will come home in 4th. Andrew McWilliam stays ahead of Carlos Armanis, but my word did Carlos catch up a little bit on that final lap. Only 0.3 of a second in between the 2 of them. Rory O'Regan takes victory then in race 2, just ahead of JJ Hind by 1.5 seconds. His fastest lap faster than that of JJ, so incredible pace from Rory right there. Olly Smith is promoted up to 3rd because Ben Richardson weighed in 100 grams underweight. That took him out of the race and obviously puts Olly Smith up to 3rd as just mentioned. Andrew McWilliam, he cut his way through the field alongside Carlos Armanis to finish 4th and 5th. Callum Bengelo and Archie Bullard, your top 7. Philip Babalal, Louis Draper and James Browning are the rest of the lightweight field. Obviously Ben Richardson getting disqualified as just mentioned. Tom Angier taking the victory in the heavyweights, 2.4 seconds ahead of Matthew Boulton. Chris Bowers, Vito Dakers and Yat Chi-Lo round out your field. So we're here with Rory O'Regan after a win in race 2. Rory, you were behind Ben Richardson for a long time there, but eventually got past him.
Yeah, it was a tough race, kept on sending it, didn't work. JJ was catching me, but obviously it wasn't really a competition, so yeah.
So into the feature race, should be starting quite high up the order. I know they're keen to get you going out there, so I'll keep it brief. But looking for some good progress in that 3rd race.
Yeah, should be good, starting 3rd, so I can hopefully send up the inside, and should be a good race, trying to get the win.
Thank you, Rory. Speak to you soon. So we're here with Carlos Armanis after a very, very entertaining but a very, very difficult race. As well, Carlos, you know this place very well. Obviously, gaps are completely neutralised. We go into race 3, so another chance in that feature race to go again. I guess you're hoping maybe to get yourself up onto that podium, or are you just banking the points at this point?
Well, clean start would be a good start, and decent machine underneath, and see where I can get to, really. So just do pray for a little bit of drizzle down, just to make it a little bit more interesting for everybody, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Carlos, for joining us. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.